Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So in today's video I am creating this look here. I'm doing these swatches and this is all from the W7 Sherbet Pop palette. This is an 18 pan palette and this is the look that I created with it. So if you want to see all of the swatches and how I created this look and what I think of the palette, then just keep on watching. So I'm going to start with the eyes. Obviously I already have my eye primer on, which is of course the Beauty Bay one, and for my brows I used the XX Revolution Faux Brow and of course the e.l.f. Wow Brow. So let's just dive into the swatches of this palette, shall we? So this is the W7 Sherbet Pop palette. This is what the packaging looks like. It's all like reflective and foiled. Really pretty. It's like cardboard packaging, really nice substantial cardboard packaging. And then this is what the colours look like. Obviously it's not the easiest to see what the actual colours look like because it's mirrored on the background, so it is reflecting the light quite a lot. I will also say it says on the back of this palette that warning, shades 1, 4, 6, 9, 10, 12, 14 and 17 are not intended for the immediate eye area. So make of that what you will. Approach with caution. I'm going to use whichever shades I want to use today, but it does say not to use those on your eyes or in the immediate eye area, whatever that may mean. This does also come with a brush, so let's see what that's like. Oh, you know what? That feels nice enough. One end is fluffy and then one end is more like a dense flat packing sort of a brush, but that feels nice enough. Sometimes when you get brushes in eyeshadow palettes they feel like really scratchy and like quite horrible to like use around your eyes. That feels soft enough. I probably will use this. This has 10 matte shades and it's an 18 pan palette, so some quick math, there are 8 shimmers. And I feel like that's a really good mix of mattes and shimmers. Let's just get into the swatches, shall we? I'm going to do these like in real time so that we can see how pigmented they are, because sometimes with pastels they're a little bit wishy-washy. But let's see how these go in real time, shall we? So first up is Fruity, and that's a matte pink. Not as pigmented as maybe I was thinking it would be, but nice enough. Then we have Refreshing. Oh wow, that's like a white and pink duochrome. Then we have Sprinkles, which is a light minty sort of blue, turquoisey blue shade. Wow, that's very reflective, that's really pretty. Then we have Dreamy, and this is a matte purple. This is the darkest shade in the palette, just for reference. Then we have Sweet, which is a shimmer, and this is a beautiful pink that almost has like a silver reflect to it. That's really pretty. Then we have Vacay, which is almost like a mauvey nude shade. That's pretty. That's the sort of shade, looking like overall, that's the sort of shade that I would probably use through my crease. Nice and pigmented. Very useful shade to have. Then onto the next row we have Tangy, which is a light mint, and that's showing up really nicely. Then we have Sugar, which is a shimmer, and this is also like a minty, darker than the one previous, but that's really pretty as well. Again, reflecting the light really nicely. Then we have Rainbow. Oh wow, that is very pigmented. So that's almost like a, would you describe that as like a salmon-y shade? Really pretty though, and has like a gold reflect to it, so it's like a little bit warmer. Then next up is a matte peachy shade called Treats, and that is very similar to my skin tone, not showing up all that much. Then we have Sherbet Ice, which is like a light, dusky, purpley sort of blue shade. I will just go over those last two just for science to see if they will build up any more, which they certainly do. Good to know. Then we have Fizzy, which is a shimmer, and this one in the pan is very, very soft. Very, very different feeling to the other shimmers so far. Very creamy and almost crumbly, to the point where like you can get a lot of pigment on in one go, but almost like creamy feeling in the pan, and that is a beautiful shade. That's the sort of shade that for somebody with blue eyes, that is the sort of shade that I would just put across the whole lid, one and done, really beautiful, and brings out the colour in my eyes as well. Then onto the last row, we have Sunny Days, which is the most pastel lemon, and that really isn't showing up on my skin all that much, which is unusual for a shimmer. That's like not showing up very much. It almost feels more like a topper, that shade. Perfectly valid formula, but different to the other ones. Then we have Delicious, which is a hot pinky purpley shade, and that one feels similar as well. It's a lot more sheer. It's still very, very reflective indeed, but feels different to the other ones. Then we have Frozen, which is a light blue. This one doesn't have any sort of purpliness to it. That is just a straight up blue, but very, very pretty and showing up very nicely on the skin as well. And then the last three shades are all matte. So this one is like a lime green, and this one is called Sour. Not showing up all that much. Then we have Candy. Yeah, and that's not showing up too much either. Then we have Desert. Dessert? I don't know. I'm just going to try and build up these last three. Okay, yeah, there's the pigment. That's showing up much better with the second swatch. That green is beautiful. Okay, so this is all of the colours. Now I've just got to decide what to do, and I say that after every single swatch. But really, like when you've got all of these colours, how do you choose? I don't know. I think I want to try that Sour shade on the eye, and then honestly, let's just go from there. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to take a fluffy brush, and I will zoom you in first so that you can see what we're doing. So I'm starting with quite a small fluffy brush, and I'm going to dip into Vacay, this one on the top row, which was like a neutrally sort of mauvey tone. I'm sorry if you can hear that noise. It's my windows. They hum like a bee when it's windy. There's nothing I can do about it. So, taking that Vacay shade, and I'm just going to run that through the crease. See how pigmented that is? I took the tiniest little bit. I'm going to use this same brush, and I'm going to just go straight into that Sour shade, that bright green. Just going to dip into that. I'm not going to tap off the brush because I want all of that pigment on the lid. Oh, that is underwhelming. Do I use my finger? Oh yes, that's better. Apply with the finger and then blend out with a brush. Noted. I'm just going back in on the outer corner to really build up that Vacay shade so that it doesn't end up looking too like wishy-washy across the lid. I do still want that like anchor point there, you know. I'm going to take a smaller brush now, and I'm going to dip into that shade called Dreamy, which was the one that I said that was the darkest one, like a purpley tone. I'm going to try and deepen up the outer corner a little bit. Obviously, I know that this is a pastel palette, don't come for me, but I want something, I just want something, okay? Let me live. I feel like the contrast between that dark purple and the bright green looks really like visually interesting, like the contrast between the two, and I really, really like how that looks. I'm gonna like clean up under here, don't worry. So I'm going to go in with Sprinkles, that blue, because I think that that'll lay over the top of this green really nicely. Let's just try it. I'm only going to take a small amount, and I'm going to tap it over the centre, because I might put something else in the middle. Oh, that's such a pretty shade. Does it go with the other two? I'm not sure, but that one's really pretty by itself. Now that I have blended that blue shade in, I do feel like it goes, because it's like green then blue then purple. Like, that is how it would go on the colour wheel, if that makes any sort of sense. So I'm going to try that Sunny Days. I'm going to try this one on the inner part of the eye to see how that will go over the top of this green. Little bit underwhelming. I feel like it goes over the top of the matte perfectly fine. It's nice. It's nice. I hate the word nice, but it's not knocking my socks off. I'm going to go in with a little bit of Delicious, this one on the bottom row, that I said looked a little bit rubbish on the swatch. It looks a little bit more like a topper sort of formula. I'm going to see how that goes over the top of the purple on the outer corner. See, on the lid, that looks completely different. That looks so nice on the lid. But on the swatch on the arm, that looked like nothing. I really, really like that shade. I've just popped a little bit more of that blue down the centre, and I think for the lid, I'm done. I'm probably going to use something else for the inner corner, and I will of course do the under eyes as well. But let me zoom you out and we can do the rest of the face, and then I can do that, and then I can give you my final thoughts. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just cleaning up under the eyes with a bit of micellar water on a cotton pad, and then I'm going to do the base, and I'm just going to skip through this. I'm using the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. I got this recently and honestly I have zero thoughts on it, so I'm trying to keep using it so that I can get some thoughts on what I think of it. So whilst that is setting down, because it says that you absolutely have to give it 30 seconds to set down before you go over the top of it, I'm going to mix together these two products for the base. So this is the Collection Lasting Perfection Glow Foundation. I have this in the shade 5, and the e.l.f. Halo Glow in the shade 2. So I'm going to take 2 swipes of the Halo Glow into the palm of my hand, and 1 pump of foundation. 1 and a bit. 1 didn't look like enough there. And I'm going to mix these together and apply with a sponge. Concealer is going to be this one here, the Essence Multitask Concealer, Erase, Cover and Care, and I have this in the shade 5 as well. I'm just going to put a little bit here and a little bit here, and I'm just blending this out with a brush, just tapping it in and brightening the eyes back up. For bronzer, I'm going in with the Catrice Holiday Skin bronzer, and I'm going to just tap a little bit of that around my face. For blush, I'm going in with Essence The Blush, like not a blush, but the blush, in the shade 40, Beloved. And I feel like this like duskier sort of a tone will look really nice with the intense colour that we've got on the eyes. And then with that same blush brush, I'm going to dip into the highlight in this little Catrice palette. I'm almost going to make this brush into like a fan brush. I'm going to like pinch it and make it that sort of a shape. Just get, wow, the high points. I don't know if I've actually used this highlight before, but why not? That is incredible. I'm just going to make sure that's really nicely blended in with that blush brush. I might just tap a little bit more blush over. Don't judge me. I'm going to just use a tiny little bit of powder, and I'm going in with a different one today. I'm using the 17 Ultimate Look Finishing Powder because I'm still like deciding what I think of this. So I'm trying to use it as and when I remember to. So just buffing a little bit of that down the centre of the face where I don't want to look shiny. I feel like actually the more I use this powder, the more I like it. It's very fine. I know I literally said at the beginning of this that I was just going to skip through all of these, but giving more thoughts to the products that I've already used, I think I like this powder. You know what else? Using a little puff and tapping this finishing powder over the top of a spot really like cancels that out. I really like this powder. So what next? Do I need a liner? Is that even a question? Of course I do. I'm going to, of course, go in with the W7 Everlasting Liquid Liner. And I'm going to do a little micro wing, nothing too big today. Okay, so micro wings on absolutely not even closely related sisters, they are not, but I'm going to just finish up under the eyes, and I'm trying to decide what I want to do whilst I'm like talking and thinking at the same time. I'm going to start with that purple Dreamy, the matte shade that I put on the outer corner. I'm just going to run that under the outer corner on the lower lash line as well. I do like a smoky under eye, so happy to do that today as well. Do I just do like the same mattes? I suppose I could go in next with Frozen on the bottom row, because I haven't used that one yet, and I'll tap that under where the blue is on the lid. Ultimately, all of this detail will be lost when I lay 7 layers of mascara on my lower lashes, because you know that's what I'm going to do, but that is looking really nice. The Frozen shade is blending into that purple really nicely, and it's like the same but different. I like it anyway. What do I want to do on the inner corner? Because we know I need something bright. I just realised I didn't use the brush in the palette, so I'm going to try it out now. I'm going to use the shade Refreshing, which was that like white to pink duochrome, and I'm going to see how much this can pack on the inner corner. Oh yes, that is definitely an interesting inner corner shade, and I don't use interesting in like a mocking way. It does look nice for this sort of a look where it's like bright and colourful. Is it the sort of inner corner that I would do on an everyday basis? No, probably not, because it is quite pink when it reflects, which could potentially look a little bit like I've got pink eye, but happy to do it for the look. And then I'm just going to finish up under the eyes with more of that sour shade, that green, just to join up the blue and that inner corner. So it is just what's on the lid mirrored underneath. I feel like that looks really nice. It's definitely colourful, but in a more wearable way. I feel like pastels are just inherently lighter. You know, they're a little bit more wearable, and I enjoy that. So I've just brought all 3 of those colours a little bit further down, and now I'm going to lay on quite a few layers of mascara. I'm using the e.l.f. Lash Beats mascara, and I'm just going to do a light layer. I do still want to be able to see the colour through my lashes, so I'm not going to go too crazy. She says approximately 30 seconds before she goes too crazy. Okay, so that is the mascara on. I also put a little bit of nude eyeliner in the waterline. This is the Essence Stay and Play Gel Eyeliner in Silky Nude, one of my all-time favourites. So I'm going to finish off with the lips, obviously. So this is the e.l.f. Love Triangle Lip Filler Liner in the shade Soft Pink. So I'm just going to draw this on, and I'm just smudging that lip liner out a little bit, just so that it's not too like harsh. Just want something a little bit softer. And then I'm going to top it with, of course, my favourite lipstick. This is the MUA Satin Sheen Lip Stylo. This is in the shade Heroic. I'm just going to tap a little bit, just for a really light wash of like a nudie glossy colour. And that, I do believe, is me done. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any other colours in the palette that you want to see me play with. I'm more than happy to do a few shorts and like play with a few more shades. So let me know if there's anything in particular that you want to see. Let me know what you think of this look. I am overall thrilled, apart from the fact that I've got mascara on my inner corner. I've completely forgotten until this point to scratch it off. That's better. I do apologise, that was probably driving you insane, but that is the finished look. I feel like on the swatches I was quite underwhelmed with these colours, honestly, but when I like blended them onto the eyes and like packed the colour on, obviously I used an eye base, which for this sort of look I generally probably always would, where I'm giving the colour the best chance of like sticking, giving it the best chance of being as vibrant as it possibly can be. I do always use an eye primer for that sort of a thing. If it's more of a dark colour where I'm happy for it to be a little bit more sheer, then an eye primer is sort of not an essential for me, but for these sort of pastel colours it really does help make them pop. And overall I am thrilled, honestly, with how this looks. There's so many more colours where I think I will just wear that all over my lid and just blend it out and call it done. Like, I have so many colours on now that I can see I would just use in that way, and I am thrilled. That is the sort of look that I do on an everyday basis. Funnily enough, I don't spend an hour doing my makeup just to go to work, but this look is so fun. I really like how it's turned out. If you've made it to the very end of this very long video, please give it a big thumbs up. If there's any other new releases that you want to see reviewed, swatched, tried on, all of that good stuff, then do let me know down below. If you are new here, then hello, my name is Millie. I post 3 times a week at least, on a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday. A lot of the time I do post more than that as well because I just get overexcited about makeup. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye!